Hello Cancer, welcome to your February 2020 reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. So the very first card that came out for you that signifies the Cancerian energy specifically is the King of Swords. Now the King of Swords is kind of stoic and it's very opposite from a cup energy, and I kind of see you dabbling in both cup energy and sword energy, which is heart and head. But I do feel like the sword energy, the thought or the mental or the intellectual vibe is going to be a lot more beneficial for you. You're going to have that capacity to really think things through. This is all perfect for Mercury and Aquarius in the 8th house for you guys. It's very sharp, it's very intelligent, and it has the capacity to really see things, right? 8th house is all about a depth. Because we're going to have a Mercury retrograde between your 9th and 8th houses, I think you are going to be able to, like with X-ray vision almost, be able to see to the core of an issue. And I feel like you're well enough removed from circumstances. You're well enough removed and self-contained and holding a substantial amount of self-control that even if you don't like something, even if something bothers you, you're still able to make really good decisions for you. And even if you have to kind of hurt a little bit, I think internally you feel good, like, okay, it's a temporary situation, it's a temporary setback, it's okay. I know I am making the best decision for me with the information that I have right now. I don't know that people are going to be able to hide their true natures from Cancer right now. I don't know that anyone is going to be able to fool you or sneak anything by you. And they're certainly not going to be able to take advantage of Cancer right now because you're coming out just real powerful. The environment is coming out as the Justice card. Now, the Justice card is kind of similar, right? We have two swords, right? A sword here, a sword here. We have the balanced scales. And I do sense that Cancer is weighing options this month. You're looking at what's in front of you, you're looking at the evidence that you have, and you're looking at people's behavior and their words and where behavior and words aren't matching up. And you are saying, I just need this to work. I need this to work for me. You can do whatever you want. You can behave however you feel you need to behave. I don't feel like Cancer is trying to get anything or anybody to do something specific. It's just a matter of like whatever it is they're doing, Cancer just accepts that and makes the decision accordingly. Justice is all about the equilibrium, but there's also, it's the counterbalancing of operating. It's not like we can ever fully walk directly in the middle, although we try to as often as possible. But we're more often going like this, a little bit here, a little bit there, and trying to always counterbalance. However, this is an interesting month for Cancer because I sense you are in the middle. You are neutral and you are separated from emotion enough that you can make decisions that will keep you in that center line. So as I look at the 9-card block coming out, and we have Mars going through the 6th house right now, which is all about work, service, giving, being there for people. And I have a good feeling about this 7 of Wands. The minute I pulled it out, I was like, damn, Cancer is on a roll. Cancer, you're setting your plans for 2020 in play. You're not backing down. You seem to have that real bulldog energy, which I think has been an energy for Cancer for a while. And I think it's this Capricorn opposition stuff happening because Capricorn really is a very bite it and grab onto it kind of sign, which is where I think Cancer and Capricorn meet in the middle a lot. So with all of this Capricorn activation, you are really tapping into achievement. You're tapping into progress and productivity. And I just sense courage and I sense valor and I sense a feeling of pride and dignity in what it is you're trying to do and what it is you're trying to accomplish. And anyone that's kind of not on the same page as Cancer probably will get pushed to the side pretty quick. Now, the next card that came out was the 7 of Cups. which tells me that you're actually really open to whatever outcomes need to happen. Whatever things need to come to fruition, you're totally okay with just letting it be what it needs to be. I don't sense that Cancer is worried so much about the destination. They're just really, really focused on the here and now. They're focused on the moment, which is, again, beautiful sixth house activity. You can have these big long-term visions, but you're still stuck in today. You still have to act minute to minute, second by second. So I don't know that Seven of Cups is really a card of confusion in the same way that I don't see the Seven of Wands as being a card of obstacles. I see it completely the opposite. It's a clear path, and it's an acceptance of the now, and it's an acceptance of everything that's not within your control. I feel like Cancer is officially like, it's not in my control, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to worry about it. Hence the stoic nature of the King of Swords. It's just kind of, I'm even going to use the word a little bit bland, but good, you know? It's just kind of like people might really not be able to read Cancer right now. Cancer has a little bit of a storm going on inside. And I don't know that there are a lot of people who are really privy to that private world right now. So here you are, Queen of Cups. Right? Because I think you're taking on this air of caring. While you don't care about other people and you don't care necessarily about their behavior and their choices, you care about yours, and you care about your life and your children and your job and your significant other. So this is a time when Cancer really is not trying to meddle, right? And when I told you in the beginning, it's like an interesting mix of sword and cups. Well, here it is. This is perfect Mercury and Sun going through the 8th house. Separation, it's like almost like separation of church and state, but it's emotions and mental activity. So you have this incredibly well-intentioned heart space, but you also know where to apply it. Because I don't see that Cancer is really wanting to put themselves in a position where they could potentially get hurt. They don't want to deal with other people's psychological trauma. Like this is not the time for people to play that little pity card on themselves with Cancerian friends and family. Because Cancer is going to push them, because right now they're pushing themselves. So it's going to be important for you to have compassion for people who just aren't in the same place as you. That's why you just move on, right? You just gotta not worry about it and focus on your own magician energy. See, I just see you making things happen. I see you making choices. I see you making moves. I see you doing the magic. I see you putting out the intentions. Like I said, a very well-intentioned Queen of Cups coming out. Real positive, really looking forward to the future, really looking forward to even just tomorrow. So the magician energy here is one of confidence. There, again, dignity, pride, like the healthy kind of pride. It's full of gratitude as well. I mean, I think if you ultimately and honestly and logically looked around at your world and your day-to-day, you would see so many things to be grateful for. And I also see you being very cautious that gratitude does not sour into arrogance or pride, but it's true, humble, like, thank you for this life. You know, thank you for these people. Thank you for these opportunities. Thank you for this home. Thank you for these possessions that I have that make my life so convenient and comfortable. And, you know, that in and of itself, that kind of state of being opens so many doors for you. And it's like almost as though you are grateful because you have to be grateful, and in a very stoic, unemotional way, like, yep, I'm grateful, you know, it's just very matter of fact. So the magician is you, Cancer, opening doors for yourself and allowing the future to unfold more quickly than it would maybe, like, obviously last year. Last year was so much about figuring out why we do what we do, figuring out how things happen, figuring out what it means to truly be a co-creator in our life and with the universe, and how we work with the energy. And now that you kind of, maybe you haven't quite mastered it, but at least you understand it a little bit more. And now that you're in that place of heightened understanding, you can actually start using it. And that's what I see this Magician here, which is so great. In the very center of the reading, I'm getting the Page of Cups. Now, I think the Page of Cups is actually something that you create. It could be a conversation. It could be an apology. It could be some kind of, I don't necessarily see it being work related or career related. I think it's more personal. A friend, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, kind of coming to the table, calling you, texting you, reaching out in some way, shape, or form. If you're trying to manifest love, these are the open doors in the romantic capacity. And I do think you're using the Magician energy to progress a little bit, not to manipulate, but to come to a point of resolution for things. Now, the one obstacle that I really see is a person. It's a King of Coins reversed. Now, the King of Coins reversed is coming out right underneath the Queen of Cups, which does tell me that it's not just another person, but that it is also a part of you. And it might be a part of you that is the part that you're trying to leave behind, or the part that you no longer want to live. It's the stubborn, stuck, kind of grumpy part of you, which I don't think that's really where you're trying to vibe at right now. You're not trying to vibe in the negativity. And so someone might be coming into your life, or has been in your life, or is highlighting something to get you to see that you're just not that person anymore. You're not there anymore. And maybe you never really forgave other people or yourself for something in that regard as well. So I think this conversation, or this, we are in, I know Mercury retrograde is not happening until February 16th, so we're still a ways away. But as Mercury makes his way through his shadow phase, there's foreshadowing that comes out, and a lot of the Mercury retrograde stuff happens actually a couple weeks before Mercury actually goes retrograde. So it's possible that during the next couple weeks that something comes out as a foreshadowing for something that might be more prominent in next month's reading. So a little conversation, an apology, like I always see Page of Cups as an apology or an opportunity to make amends, and it's usually something a little bit unexpected, but it's also not the full enchilada either. It's not the really heavy, let's hash this out conversation. It's superficial, high level kind of stuff. And that's why the King of Swords is going to be so important for you, is because it's just accepting that it's the Page of Cups and that's it, and that this person is reversed and that's it, and it's okay, and it may last for their entire lifetime, or it may just last a couple of weeks, and it's going to depend on their choices. See, there's no meddling with the King of Swords. A King of Swords is not trying to get in the middle of stuff. It's not trying to manipulate people, because they know that manipulating people is not going to ever give you the result that you ultimately want. So you just let it go. It's Page of Cups. That's it. That's all I'm going to get. All right, fine. That's fine. And then you just move forward, and you just kind of go to work. You just go to work. And like I say, you just have so many options in front of you. You have so many choices. You have so many ways to build this year. And again, as it's 2020, right? 2 + 2 is 4, which is a strong foundational number. It's time for you to start laying a new foundation for what it is you're hoping to achieve. So I see your focus in the right place. I really do. Now, underneath the Magician, we get the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is always my bulldog energy, even though she's technically a card of Aries or fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I often see a very Capricorn vibe from her as well, as she's a fellow cardinal sign. And somehow I see her not wanting to pull the trigger on stuff. I see her not wanting to maybe utilize her power, or maybe even being afraid of it, afraid of how quickly things can manifest, afraid of how quickly things can change. So it could be a part of you of like, I feel like on one hand you really, really want things to move in a direction, and yet here she is of like, let's just sit back and wait and see what happens. The one thing I don't want to see is you waiting on this person, which all cards up to this point have suggested that that's not what you're going to do. But there could be a tendency to want to do this because of the diplomacy and the fairness of this Justice card. A lot of times the Justice energy really does want to hear people out. It wants to hear all sides of a case. It wants to really understand what's going on deeper than what appears to be happening. And that's all very well and good. But again, if the interactions is just a page, and if this person doesn't really want to talk to you in depth about things, then I highly recommend not sitting around and waiting. Because that next card out is the Ace of Cups, which comes and suggests there's something wonderful on the horizon, again, that you have created, right? The Magician is a number one, and Ace is also a number one. So here we have the effects, the results of the Magician energy. So it's coming. On the other hand, this Queen of Wands could be another individual, maybe the same as the King of Coins, maybe a totally different person, who again is a bit of a Debbie Downer, who's a bit of a heavy, more negative, not willing to believe in the potential of the future kind of person, which could really frustrate a Cancer right now. I think people that don't get excited about the future are really irritating to Cancer, right? Eighth house is so much about, right, we know it's transformation, it's scorpionic, it's metamorphosis, it's about death, it's about letting things die. And that is such a huge step. And just the nature of the astrology right now is Cancer's taking big steps. You know, that's kind of it. You're taking big steps, you're making things happen. And people who aren't in that mindset right now could really rub Cancer the wrong way. Let's not forget the King of Swords, okay? King of Swords is actually an Aquarian energy, which makes sense given the time of year we're doing this. Fixed winter, right? Which is why I have my little winter landscape thing going on, because it can get real chilly this time of year, and people's personalities can take on a chill. They can definitely take on an edge, and Cancer has that natural exoskeleton anyway, so it's kind of being emphasized right now. So if you're dealing with a Cancer and they're being kind of aloof and unattainable and, you know, a little short with you, let the season pass. They'll warm up in the ninth house. They'll warm up in Pisces season. It will be okay. But for right now, you just got to let them be where they need to be too. Compassion goes both ways. So again, the Ace of Cups. Could it be new love? Yes, absolutely. Could it be a renewal of love, or talks of love, or reconnecting, or coming back together? Yes, absolutely it could be. It could also just simply be a time when Cancer says, I'm just going to be satisfied with where I'm at. I'm not going to hope for anything. And thereby you find that satisfaction within yourself, which is really, a really healthy thing to do and a really healthy place to be. The very last card we get in the 9-card block is the Two of Swords, which, again, such a card of peace. I always say this is my card of restoring peace. You know, because you may feel like you have all these options and all these choices, but ultimately there's probably only one truth that you're operating in right now. And the Queen of Cups, with her really strong, good intentions, she's going to make the choices and choose the path. Again, same thing as I said in the beginning, that are just simply beneficial for her in this moment in time. Yeah, and that's it. And she has her intuition, which is extraordinarily powerful right now. Eighth house, you know, it's a house of psychology. she's operating in truth. She's operating in authenticity. And there's no apologies, there's no excuses. And so I think Cancer is not really willing to answer to anybody right now. That could be a little bit tough if this is a work environment, right? When you may be feeling held back by a boss or some kind of company policy or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I really want to go out and land this client, but I can't do this. Or I really want to get promoted, but I can't do it like this, you know. But I kind of see Cancer taking a few risks and actually seeing those risks working out, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and put this camera down. And let's pull out the clarifiers for the comprehensive reading and the oracles. All right, see you in a sec. Okay, Cancer. Here we have how all the cards are laid out so you can see. Let's pull out a moon energy card specifically clarifying the King of Swords, which is you, Cancer. So let's see. Hold your vision. Yeah, because when you have a held vision, we are going to be having a full moon in Leo this month as well. We have all that fixed moon energy, new moon in Aquarius, you know, all that. So the fixed moon energy is really strong, really prominent, and it is about keeping things consistent. But that's the long-term game. That means all of the mundane, everyday choices are simply in line with the big vision. Although the day-to-day can go and come and go and energy can be easy or difficult on a day-to-day basis, ultimately when you are making decisions that are aimed here, you know, it makes everything a lot easier, puts everything in a more straightforward pattern. All right, one more card for the King of Swords, which again, the King of Swords is really good at saying this is what I want and just going and getting it with, again, no apologies. Material and spiritual prosperity. That's where you're headed. A place of prosperity, Ace of Cups with the Magician. So there's no need to fear, there's no need to be afraid you're not going to get what you want, that you're, you know, that you're not going to flourish in this particular environment. The King of Coins is in many ways inconsequential. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of clout. And if he is dead weight, I think you're just simply going to be making decisions to relieve yourself of that burden. And it's just very plain and simple, very obvious. All right, so for those of you who are new to my channel, the cards we're about to pull out, we're going to talk about in the comprehensive. The link will be down in the description box down below. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. Okay. Again, stoic, right? A lot of emotions, but it's the mind that enables you to power through this month. A lot of movement. Let's pull out cards for the Justice card. Okay. One more, actually. Let's do one more for Justice. Okay. Ooh, Strength. Beautiful. All right, now let's go ahead and start with the Seven of Wands. Okay, Judgment, upright. Oops, Ace of Swords. And Judgment and Ace of Swords almost always come out together, I've found. So that's great. Seven of Cups. Tower is to be expected with 8th house activity plus the Saturn Pluto thing that we just went through. Not a surprise. Actually kind of a welcome energy. All right, we get the Death card, also 8th house, right? Scorpio, Hermit. Cancer's inner world. Wow, a lot of majors coming out for you. You're at a pinnacle moment. Whenever majors come out like this, it's an important time, and it's a time to pay attention to what's going on. It's important to pay attention to your choices. And because they really do set the precedent for the new cycle. And we knew that. We knew that once Saturn and Pluto connected in Capricorn, which they did on January 12th, We knew that it was time for us to no longer continue new patterns because there's karmic implications. I mean, that's always. But I think so many of us want to be free from so many things. We don't want the heaviness. We don't want the burdens, you know. Another 7 of Cups. Interesting. Why are you running away? I feel like there's an energy of running away. It's not avoidance. It's just trying to keep things out. I'm going to do one more for that King of Coins. Ooh. Why do I feel like there's a fire sign in your midst? Majors, man. See, you guys, you're opening doors. By letting go of dead weight, you are opening up the doors. Oh my God, how amazing. That is seriously so beautiful. Yeah, fire signs. Fire abounds. Oops, hold on. That's not quite right. Those 2 cards did not feel right. Okay. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue here. If you want to join me again, the link will be in the description box. If not, thank you guys so much for everything. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. Have an excellent Aquarius season, and we will see you next month. Take care.